Hello, Algebra 1A students. I'm sorry that I could not be here today. This video is going to teach you how to solve proportions, you don't have to take notes. I just want you watching. So we talked about proportions last week a little bit. We talked about like 1/2 equals 2/4 is a proportion. Really, they're the same ratios. They're really the same size. They just look a little different. Okay. So first off, I want you to kind of look at these three proportions and see if you can solve them just by using guess and check. So take a second, pause the video if you want, just to try and solve for what x is. Okay? So looking at the first one, we want 1/2 to be equal to x over 6, so that would mean that x is equal to 3, because 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2. Number 2 is pretty straightforward as well. You can see that 12 over 18, we want to be the same as x over 9, so I kind of looked at it this way. 9 times 2 is 18, so whatever this is times 2 has to be 12. So in this case, x equals 6. Now this one's a little bit more difficult. We know 3/6 is 1/2, so we want this to be equal to 1/2. So that means x minus 1 has to be equal to 1, which means that x has to be equal to 2, because 2 minus 1 would give you 1 over 2, which is the same as 3/6. Okay, so solving a proportion basically means to find the value of x so that these two fractions are equal. Okay, now that's kind of the easy part, I'm afraid. Let's talk about what happens when you can't actually guess the number. So looking at this one, we really have no idea what 3.1 over 8 is compared to 19.2 over n. Okay, and if you kind of think back to the fall when we started solving equations, we had some equations like this where the variable was in the denominator. So using that way, we could do this by first multiplying both sides by n, and that would give us 3.1 n over 8 equals 1.92, so those would cancel. And then you could multiply both sides by 8. Okay, let me grab my calculator here. That would give you 153.6, and we still have this 3.1. And then you could divide both sides by 3.1. Okay, then 153 divided by 3.1 would give you 49.55. So that's kind of how to solve it using the method that I taught you in solving equations last fall. But I have good news for you. There's a shortcut. Some of you guys may have heard of this before. It's called cross multiplication. Okay? What it really does is it takes this whole process and it jumps from here, right, to here. Okay? So basically it's saying, okay, you can jump right to there instead of having to do all of this inverse operations work. So I'm going to show you these two problems. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply my diagonals. So 9 times 4 is 36. And I know whatever that is going to be equal to the other diagonal, which is 20x. Then, that's this step right here. Then that's really easy to solve. How do I get x by itself? Divide by 20 on both sides. And that will give me, you could simplify that to 18 over 10 or 9 over 5, 9 over 5, or you could just put it into your calculator. And that will give you 1.8. It's a much easier process than what we did back here. Thank you, cross multiplication. Same here. Okay, what we would do is multiply across the diagonals. So 4 times x gives me 4x. 1 times 12 gives me 12. I know those are equal. Divide both sides by 4, and that gives me x equals 3. Okay? So this is a shortcut that you want to be using. When you're doing your worksheet later, even though some of these you can guess, like you were probably able to guess this one before you did it, I want you to do this process because we're going to start doing ones like these later where you can actually guess, and so that at that point you'll already be good at cross multiplication. So I want to see each one of these like this on your worksheet. Okay?